Hey everyone, I hope you've had a good week. My name is Jake and my channel is Jake Trades and Invests, where I take a weekly view of the markets to see what price has done, as well as where I think price may be headed in the coming weeks. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and jump into our first chart. We'll take a look here at gold. So for this week, we had a pretty strong impulse push up to start the week and then a little bit of a pullback towards the end of the week. Like we talked about last week, I think gold is still going to continue to consolidate sideways here, maybe for a couple of weeks. We've had a pretty strong push up over the last month or so, and I think it's going to take some time to consolidate and build a little bit of support and momentum before continuing higher. But overall, I think the short to medium term, and with the fundamentals behind gold, it looks good to continue higher. Now we'll move over to silver. So silver also is consolidating sideways for now. We're kind of winding up, it looks like. I think ultimately silver is going to push higher to follow suit with gold. But for now, it looks like a little bit of consolidation is going on. I would look for that to continue over the next week or two, would be my guess, before pushing back towards the all-time highs around 35.50. Platinum, doing what I was hoping it would do and what we talked about last week. It was consolidating and had some pretty strong buying candles coming in over the last couple of weeks. We're pushing back up into that resistance zone around $1,000. Looks like we closed the week right around $1,000 an ounce. So platinum looks good to head higher. It's got quite a bit of momentum behind it. The red candles are small, and you can see some buying wicks coming in underneath it. And then the green candles are pretty large, with a lot of momentum behind them. So platinum's looking good to continue to push higher, looking like we're going to come back and test this resistance zone. Not sure if this will be the time that we finally break out above it, but I think at least in the short term we're going to come back up and test that 1020 to 1040 range, that's overhead. So copper, looks like it has pulled back this week to come back to the 200 EMA, with a pretty strong bounce off of that to end the week this week. Previously, we had pulled back and tested our support around $4 and then had a pretty strong bounce off of that back up towards $5. And now we've pulled back down again towards the 450 range and finishing the week out at 465. So copper looks good to maybe continue to consolidate a little bit going into this coming week. And then I think copper is going to push back to the upside, to follow suit with the rest of the metals. Crude oil, acting as I had talked about last week, where it pulled back to retest the lows. Looks like we have a little bit of a double bottom bounce here, and we pushed up this week back towards $61 to end the week. The price is heading back up towards the moving averages, but for now, with the price below the moving averages, I'm not too bullish on oil. I said that last week. So I would think for now we may be looking at a little bit of consolidation. We may push up a little higher in the coming weeks, back up towards our resistance zone here overhead around $66. But I'm thinking for now oil is going to stay kind of in this range. If we start to break down below the $55 lows here, there's probably going to be some more selling ahead. But for now, I think oil might just chop around in this range between $56 and $66 to see if we can build a little bit of support. If we can hang around that range and find some buying coming in that area and then get back above the moving averages, it may look a little bit better for oil in the medium term. But for now, my guess is that oil is probably going to chop around for a little bit. And next up, we have natural gas. We've had a strong couple of weeks, after bouncing off the $3 support, waiting for the drawings to load here. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about natural gas coming down around this $3 range and then bouncing higher, and that's exactly what it's done. So right now we're back up to that around the 380 resistance zone right now. And we're back above the moving averages with quite a bit of momentum. So natural gas is looking pretty strong. looking good to head higher. We may see a little bit of a pullback this week since we're at the resistance zone. So it's possible we'll pull back before building a little bit more momentum to break through the resistance zone. But the other alternative here would be that we could go ahead and break through it to start the week, come back down to retest it in the next week or two and head higher. But I think natural gas is looking good to head towards the upside in the short to medium term. For the S&P 500, we've just kind of consolidated sideways this week around the 5,700 level. Not looking too weak at the moment. I still think there could be a pullback in the near term. We've got this gap down here around 5,300. It hasn't been filled yet. But with all of this market movement over the last month or two, there's quite a few gaps in the price, a lot of large candles on the buying and the selling side. So it's kind of hard to tell where the S&P 500 is heading in the short term. So depending on how price reacts in this area over the next week or two, it's possible the price may pull on back down towards 5,300 to fill that gap, or we could continue to break higher and just kind of slowly push up back above our resistance zone. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see. But yeah, for right now, it's just kind of holding sideways in that area. So for me, it's a wait and see what happens over the coming weeks. Nasdaq, similar story. We are above 20,000, but like the S&P 500, there's still some gaps down here around 18,250 that haven't been filled. We've filled all the gaps to the upside so far, but if we get another round of tariffs or some bad news for the markets, it's possible the price is going to pull on back and kind of retest these lows here. But it's just kind of hard to tell right now with everything that's going on politically, which is causing the shakeups in the markets. So for me, it's just to kind of sit on the sidelines and wait and see for the overall markets. For the Dow, it's not as choppy as the S&P and the Nasdaq, but it has followed suit this week where it's just kind of consolidating sideways. We are right here just below the moving averages, so it's a good point of resistance for the price to pull on back. And if the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq start to pull back, I would think the Dow is going to follow suit. We do have the gap down here just above 39,000, so it may not be a strong pullback like we had back in early April, end of March timeframe where the prices were just going crazy, but it's possible we could kind of drift lower back down towards that 39,000 level and fill that gap. For the Russell, same thing as the other indices. We're kind of sitting around that $2,000 level here, which is a strong support resistance level from previous years. We are below the moving averages, so again, like the other indices, it's possible that the price is going to pull back down at least towards 1900. That's where our last gap is below us that we haven't filled yet. So if the other markets pull back, it's possible the Russell is going to follow suit and do the same thing in the short term. And we'll end the analysis here with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's continuing to push up higher, strong momentum behind the price, and it doesn't look like it's ready to slow down. So for now, I think the price is going to continue to push higher and consolidate in the short term. We are a little bit extended over the 50 moving average here, so it's possible price may consolidate around 100,000 would be a good logical level here, and wait for the moving averages to catch up before getting another bounce higher. But for now, with the weakening of the dollar, Bitcoin and gold seem to be the safe havens for investors to kind of put their money into. So Bitcoin is holding up pretty strong, and I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. So that's all I have for this week. I appreciate anyone that has tuned in. As always, if you find value from the content, please leave a like and a subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Please share if you think the information is useful, and I will see you all again next week. Thank you.